At the heart of the spiritual guidance training program is the sacred process of story. Story is kind of fundamental to all of our lives. We all have our own stories, our stories of all parts of our lives. Um, but the most important piece of that is to notice when the divine is unfolding within that story, and how the divine works throughout our whole story, our whole existence, our whole lives. Huh? Um, and one of the other pieces of it, we see that happening through the universe story. That the evolutionary story of that universe, of the world in which we live in, and all the different developing faith traditions, and our own stories, our own personal stories, all in light of what's happening in the world today, all gives us of the ability to look at ourselves and wonder how we might do that with spiritual seekers, people who come and sit with us. And I think one of the ways that we try to do that in the program, Brian Swim and Thomas Berry, Brian Swim is a cosmologist, a scientist, a mathematician. Thomas Berry was an eco-theologian, a priest. And they identified the fundamental orientation of the universe, or three characteristics of the universe: diversity, communion, and interiority. So let me just talk about diversity a little bit, and then maybe you can react to that. Um, Diversity describes the way of being and entering into the universe, um, the cosmic story of growth and creativity and contemplation, with every creature of Earth as a fellow pilgrim. That diversity is all connected one to another. Diversity is an essential part of the universe story, and I think an essential part of our lives as we're finding out the beauty of diversity in our cultures these days. I think it's essential and necessary for the universe to keep moving. Um, it's a way we can connect to the wonder and the beauty all around us, the rich diversity. I mean, just look at the biodiversity on our planet, the richness of that. Jane Goodall, the researcher who worked with the gorillas, I believe, in Africa, says that each one of us matters, and each one of us has a role to play and makes a difference. That we're all essential to every part of our story and the story of the universe. So I think that diversity is pretty important for us to consider as we look at this program, and look at the way we want to work and move into that.
I think diversity is, in and of itself, an essential story of the universe. In this program, we invite people to see with their eyes and to feel with their hearts that which may be unique or different, or even unlike ourselves. We encourage each person and ourselves, I believe, to really hold parts of ourselves that we may have dismissed or we dislike, to hold parts of another that we're not necessarily attracted to or inclined to appreciate.
Mm.
And I think we learn to hold our seekers with that kind of compassion.
Interiority is noticing and realizing that everything and everyone has a deep capacity for an interior experience, and identifying what's going on deep within themselves, and noticing that and how that feels and what that looks like. I think it's a pretty important piece of the program. Interiority is like taking that long, loving look at the holy within my heart, in my being, in the universe that is me, that we all are, or the universe coming to know itself. This was another quote from someone, I don't remember the source, but they said that interiority demands an exquisite attention to life. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. How do we pay attention to life exquisitely? How often do we think of our life as an exquisite life?
What I find is a lot of times in our lives we get so busy that that voice doesn't get heard.
Yep.
And that interior journey of noticing what's inside of me, what's rattling my cages, what feels uncomfortable, or where is this question coming up from within me?
Mhm.
That kind of nudging that happens within us at an interior level is really, in many ways, the impetus toward our transformation,
Mhm.
toward the growth that happens as a result of us moving deeply inside.
That communion is everything in the universe is connected,
Mhm.
communal. Is one thing is related to the other, and nothing exists without anything else. Um, so, like this dialogue here today, we couldn't be having a dialogue without each other. So we're in communion with one another as we do this,
Mhm.
as we are in many other ways, it seems to me. Um, and it's all about those relationships that we form. Uh, First of all, with ourselves, with God, with others, and those right relationships that we have with those folks uh, is translated into the universe because every all of those relationships are part of the universe, and we are the universe coming to know itself. Hmm.
Or we are intrinsically
Yep.
connected to one another. Um, so the circles we form, whether they be in large groups or small groups or one-on-ones, or whether it's bidden or not bidden,
Hmm.
reminds us that our personal transformation is deeply rooted in this quality of energy and presence
Yep.
that is somehow held and maintained within this circle of those of us who engage in it.